Hey, Dan Meyer here, and today we're going to talk about how to find the data you need for doing competitor analysis. So, competitor analysis basically is when you look at all the data available to you that you can use to analyze the competition, right? So, among your competitors, how do you evaluate yourself? How do you judge whether you're doing as well as you should be or want to be doing in your competitors in a wide range of topics? Things like pricing, like size of inventory, amount of inventory, customer service, and delivery time. Whatever it is you're doing, can you do it better, faster, smarter, stronger than your competition? And most importantly, can you make it more profitable? So a lot of this data you should be looking at on a regular basis. Now, on the surface, you might think that you only have your own data and you don't know how to get your competitors' data. Well, I've had a long career doing just that. In fact, when I was back at Wells Fargo for a big part of my corporate career, one of my primary job functions was to spy on the competition. So, for example, when Wells Fargo, when we were trying to figure out what to do with our money transfer or remittance product, trying to figure out what to price it at, what to set the exchange rate, what kind of features should we offer in each product, which countries should we expand to, before we made any of those choices, I would go out and I would find data to help just give us a decision or a direction on where to go before we made a decision. And for example, if you're sending money to a foreign country, you want to know all these things about what it's going to take to make money off of that action. How is the bank going to make money off of sending money to a foreign country, to somebody to send money to their loved ones at home? Maybe, someone migrates here and they send money to mom or to their kids or whoever. That's the kind of things you want to gather the data for before you build a product. Now think about that in your business. What's something you're going to do? What's something you're thinking about doing? Making an expansion, launching a new product, opening up a new store, doing a new course, whatever it is you're thinking of doing, you want to look at all the competition data available to you. This is something I've done not just in my time at Wells Fargo, but across helping multiple companies. I helped a company a few months back where it wasn't really a company, it's really a husband and wife, and the wife is a public speaker, and she wanted to figure out how to get on more stages, and she speaks to a primarily Spanish-speaking audience. And so the first thing I said was, well, who are your competitors? Who are the people that are also in the same space, having events, doing speaking talks that are the same type of yours? And how are they doing them? What are they pricing them for? Who's their market? How successful are they? How are they marketing to their market? So you look at your competition. If you want to do effective analysis, you got to start digging for the data points. So number one, ask yourself, who are your competitors, right? For some of us, it's easy. We think about who we compete with because we have the same thing, but we also not want to think about what we're competing as far as the product itself, but for time. I think about this a lot for people that are public speakers, especially in the online space. There's so much competition for people to be able to select you to use their time on you. What makes you different? And then what makes it different for everybody else? So if you look and see who are the market leaders, who are the influencers, who are the rock stars in your niche, and how do they compare to what you do? How many followers do they have? How many signups are they getting? How often do they post things? Do the posts get engagement? Can you get a sense if they're charging for their posts or if there's something that's completely organic? Do you get a sense that they're active every day? Or are they doing it a couple times a week? Is it them or a virtual assistant? There's so many questions you can ask yourself about how you're a competition, what you're doing for your competition, right? So who are your competitors? Just think about the top 2 or 3 people that you think are your competitors, and then start thinking about what are the couple things they're doing that you are or aren't doing, and start making kind of a list of who your competitors are, and then what do they do that's different than you? What do they do that's similar to you? And what's the difference between the similarities and the differences? Is it price? Is it delivery method? Is it time of delivery? So think about all these kind of things. Number 2, of course, is pricing. We'll talk mostly about pricing in the sense that what do you price yourself at that makes you competitive? Now, you want to make a profit in most cases. Sometimes you want to make zero profit to get leads. There are times where pricing is not important. But for most of us, we want to make sure that we're in the right target price range for our demographic, for our audience, compared to our competition, right? So a lot of people that make a product for online service, like I'm going to do coaching, I'm going to do training, I'm going to have you come into my group and I'm going to coach you on mindset, I'm going to coach you on wellness, I'm going to coach you on health, I'm going to coach you on women's empowerment. Whatever the topic is, where are your competitors at? If you charge $1,000, but everybody else that's in your niche is charging 500, and on the surface it looks like you offer the same kind of things, it's going to be really hard for you to get business. So you want to look at your pricing and figure out how that changes over time too. Watch your competitors. One of the things I used to do at Wells Fargo, and I still do occasionally for some of my clients, is do an analysis over time on pricing, right? Does pricing change? If people start charging a lot more, then are they offering more? Or will the market bear that? Are they charging more, offering more, and getting more clients? You can get a sense of that without ever having to talk to them, just by seeing what's happening in their social media. You can get a sense of how busy somebody is by how often they're posting. You can get a sense of how successful they are by how much engagement they're getting. It's not going to be, like completely scientific, but at least you're going to get some directional data. And basis around pricing. When you think about what you should charge your clients for what you do, think about the competition's doing and try to figure out where you want to be. Very few people can succeed by being the cheapest. That's the Walmart thing. That's because they have so much they offer and they're so spread out. They're such a great brand. For most of us, we have to compete on what we do, on quality, on content. So we got to price accordingly so that we offer good value without undervaluing ourselves. That's really important. The third thing I'll talk about when it comes to competitor analysis is the marketing strategy, right? Look at the marketing strategy of your clients. Really specifically get into how they market. Are they using Facebook? Are they using print marketing? Are they using radio? Are they using TV? And then how often? And then what's the content? What is the call to action? What kind of deals are they giving people? If you start looking at the different things that people are doing, and you start figuring out, is that working for them? You can get a sense, right? Again, your educated opinion, are people doing something that seems to be driving in the right direction, or they kind of spinning their wheels? If you watch somebody for a little bit of time, you'll see their strategy and you'll see if it's working or not. And a lot of times it's because you'd say, well, I wouldn't buy that, or people I know wouldn't buy that, then it's probably not going to work. So think about what they're doing and compare it to what you're doing, right? You want to tweak your marketing constantly. You always want to find a way to stay ahead of the game. You want to keep something that's fun, that's interesting, that people remember. You want to make sure that when you're doing marketing, that you're thinking about what your audience is going to feel when they see your marketing. When they interact with you, what are they getting out of it? What's in it for them? So a lot of the cool things that you can do in your marketing, you're going to see because you're going to see competition either doing it well and you want to kind of mimic that, or competition is doing it horribly and you want to stay away from that. So look at your competitors' marketing. Number 4 is the tools and platforms they use, right? I mentioned before, what are they doing? Are they on social media all the time? Are they doing some kind of like in-person events, or at least that's what they want to do? Are they getting more of their business through referrals? Again, you can get a sense of this by studying them, right? And then you can figure out where they're putting their bang for their buck, and is it working for them? A lot of people market on Facebook. A lot of people do Facebook ads, but in general, most people that do Facebook ads don't feel like it's giving them a value, because you have to really micro-target. You have to really understand the analytics and the data and the demographics behind what you do on Facebook to really make it work. You also have to see if there's platforms that are underused. Like a lot of people don't know too much about Pinterest, or haven't yet figured out how to use TikTok. So there's tools out there that you want to think about for your business and go through every one of them. Decide which ones are like easy to do, that are cheap to get into, and you can start right away. And then decide which ones that you think are more harder to do, cost more, and you're not quite sure if you want to start them or not. And then go with the easy ones. All these things I'm talking about, though, the tools, the analysis, the different things you can do, you don't have to do it alone. You can always have a virtual assistant help you do it. Number 5 is online content, right? Go to their websites and their social media pages to look at their content. There's nothing wrong with trying to hijack or pirate somebody's content. If they're an influencer and they got a lot of followers, comment on their stuff. Get attention from their audience about you, and maybe it will drive some of them to come to you. Look at what they're doing that goes viral. Look at what they're doing that's getting the most views, likes, follows, shares. And think about, how do you do your own version of that? You don't always want to completely copy, but you do want to stay with where things are going. There's a reason why every time Coke launches a new product, Pepsi does. Every time McDonald's launches a new product, Burger King does something similar, because they know they have to keep that market share and they want to keep trying to get a piece of the action. You're doing the same thing. You're competing with people for their time, right? You're competing with people for the time of their audience. The audience has 24 hours in a day. In the 24 hours a day, how much time do they have devoted to something that you do? And if it's you, what makes you special? Why should they choose you over somebody else who can do something similar, or something, maybe not the same thing, but in the same realm of time consumption? I hope that makes sense, right? Online content is something you should really know. Last thing we'll talk about is strengths and weaknesses, right? You should make a list of all your strengths and all your weaknesses and compare that to your top 2 or 3 competitors. Identify what your competitors are doing right and where they're lacking. Lacking is an opportunity for you to go ahead and do something to fill a need, fill a gap that somebody's not filling. At the same time, strength, you don't want to take people on head to head if you can't win. If they're more established, have more capital, have a deeper influence, have a lot more going for them, and it's hard to take away their market share, then focus on going after their weaknesses, not their strengths. Learn from them and improve your own performance. Constantly ask yourself, if they're doing this well, then can I do it as well? And if not, what can I do better than they do so that I can get an edge? You constantly want to look at strengths and weaknesses. So you do these things. If you look at all this stuff, when you're trying to look for data and bring that data into analysis, I talked about making lists. I talked about going out and looking at data. I talked about collecting pricing stuff. I talked about, demographics and even geographics and people live and looking at populations, looking at size of audience. You could put all this stuff into analysis, and you should be spending a couple hours a month on your competitive analysis minimum, maybe even a couple hours a week. And in fact, I encourage you to block off an hour every Friday or and take an hour to go look at your competitors' websites, look at your competitors' social media with an eye to 2 things. What are they doing, and how can you measure yourself against them? What kind of data do you need to give you a sense of, are you more successful than they are in a certain topic, in a certain product, in a certain niche, in a certain cost range? What is it that you can do, and how do you measure that? If you figure out these things, you're going to be much more successful. This is what big corporations do all the time. They have teams of analysts that are going out there analyzing the competition, looking for an edge, looking for an opportunity, looking for a weakness to prey upon. This is the kind of stuff that you need to do in your business as well. And if it's too overwhelming for you to do it yourself, especially the data gathering part, hire a virtual assistant. Sonic VA is here to help you focus on what you do best so you can hire for all the rest. If you need someone to help you with analysis, with the data collection, preparing the data, analyzing data, we got people that can do that. We can also help you make YouTube-ready videos, create engaging graphic designs, manage your social media. If you're too busy, if you're stuck in Busyville running your business and you need to grow it, we can help you do so with our virtual staff by allowing you to be more consistent, have more clarity, and develop more certainty between you and your clients. That's sonicva.com, sonicva.com. I want to, again, go out there and understand your competition. Every business, no matter what you are, you have competition, and you have to be able to understand where you stack up and give yourself a goal of how to get where you want to go. So that's it for today. Thank you for your time. Now go out and look at some competitor data.